Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing great today. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful and eye-opening books on money ever written, The Psychology of Money, by Morgan Housel. A book that completely changes the way you think about wealth, success, and financial decisions. Now let me ask you something. Money, just hearing that word, already triggers something inside you, right? Excitement, stress, dreams, fear, maybe even pressure. Because whether we like it or not, money controls a huge part of our lives. We wake up for it, we work for it, we worry about it, and sometimes we even lose sleep because of it. But here's something surprising. Making money is not just about how smart you are. It's not about being a genius in math. It's not about knowing every stock market trick. And it's definitely not about getting lucky overnight. It's about behavior. Yes, behavior. The way you think, the way you react, the way you handle fear, greed, patience, and decisions. That's what actually decides whether you build wealth or lose it. And that's exactly what the psychology of money reveals. In today's video, we're going to break down the most important lessons from this book. Not just a surface-level summary, but a deep, practical understanding that you can actually apply in your real life, because this isn't your typical get-rich-quick guide. No complicated formulas, no boring financial jargon. Instead, it reveals the hidden truth. Why do smart people make dumb money decisions? Why do some people with average income become wealthy, while others who earn millions end up broke? Sounds crazy, right? But once you understand the psychology behind money, everything starts making sense. So, if you want to stop feeling confused about money, if you want to build real wealth, step by step, and if you want to finally understand what actually works, make sure you stay with me till the end, because this video might just change your financial life. Let's begin. Part 1. No one is crazy. Let me tell you something. No one is crazy when it comes to money. Yes, you heard that right. No one. Sometimes we look at other people's financial decisions and think, what are they doing? Why would anyone do that? It feels irrational, confusing, even stupid. But here's the truth. People don't make financial decisions based on logic alone. They make decisions based on their experiences. Think about it. Someone who grew up in poverty, who saw their parents struggle to pay bills, who lived with constant fear of losing everything. Do you think that person will easily invest money in stocks? No. They'll feel scared, uncomfortable, unsure. While even if investing is technically the right decision, their past tells them, play it safe. Now flip the situation. Imagine someone who grew up in a wealthy environment, where money was always available, where investing and risk-taking were normal conversations for them. As taking financial risks feels natural, they might invest aggressively, start businesses, or put money into opportunities others would avoid. Same world, same economy, but completely different decisions. Why? Because their experiences are different. And this is the most important point you need to understand. Your financial behavior is shaped by what you've personally lived through, not by what textbooks say, not by what experts recommend, but by your own life story. And here's where it gets even deeper. Most of us believe we're making smart, logical money decisions. But in reality, we're just reacting to our past, reacting to fear, reacting to pain, reacting to what we've seen growing up. So when you see someone saving too much, or someone spending too much, or someone taking huge risks, instead of judging them, pause and ask yourself, What might they have experienced that makes this decision feel right to them? Because in their world, in their story, they're not being crazy at all. They're being human. And once you understand this, something powerful happens. You stop comparing your financial journey with others. You stop blindly copying what worked for someone else. And you start focusing on your own path. Because at the end of the day, there is no one-size-fits-all strategy for money. What works for someone else might not work for you, and that's completely okay. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to make decisions that work for your life, your mindset, and your reality. That's the real game. Part 2, luck and risk. Now here's a concept that most people don't like to admit. Say luck and risk play a huge role in money. Yes, even more than we're comfortable accepting. We all love stories of success. A person builds a company, becomes a millionaire. An investor makes the perfect decision, earns massive returns. And we immediately think, wow, they're so smart. They knew exactly what they were doing. But wait, let's slow down for a second. What if luck had something to do with it? Think about it. Right place, right time, meeting the right people, being in the right industry at the right moment. These things matter a lot. And the truth is, not every success story is 100% skill. Sometimes it's a mix of skill and luck. But here's the other side. Risk. For every success story you see, there are hundreds, maybe thousands, who tried the same thing, but failed. You just don't hear about them. Because success gets attention. Failure gets ignored. This creates a dangerous illusion. It makes us believe that if we copy someone successful, we'll get the same result. But that's not always true. Because we're only seeing the winners, not the full picture. Let me explain it simply. Imagine 1,000 people take a big financial risk, maybe starting a business or investing heavily in something new. Out of those 1,000 people, maybe 10 become extremely successful, and those 10 people become famous. They give interviews, they share advice. They tell you exactly what they did, and it sounds convincing. It sounds like a perfect strategy. But what about the other 990 people? The ones who failed, who lost money, who made the same decisions, but didn't succeed? We don't hear their stories, and that's the problem. We learn from incomplete information. So what's the lesson here? First, be careful who you copy. Just because something worked for someone doesn't mean it will work for you. Second, stay humble when you succeed. Because maybe, just maybe, luck played a part at your journey. And third, don't be too hard on yourself when things don't go your way. Sometimes you can do everything right and still fail. That's life. That's risk. And accepting this truth makes you wiser, calmer, and more realistic with money. Because once you understand the role of luck and risk, you stop chasing perfection, and you start focusing on what you can actually control. Part 3, never enough. Let's talk about one of the most dangerous mindsets when it comes to money. Never enough. It sounds simple, but it has destroyed careers, businesses, and even lives, because no matter how much someone has, they still feel like it's not enough. Think about that for a second. Someone earns thousands, wants lakhs. Someone earns lakhs, wants crores. Someone earns crores, still wants more, and more, and more. It never stops. There's always a bigger house, a better car, a richer person to compare yourself to, and slowly, without even realizing it, You enter a race that has no finish line. And that's where the real danger begins. Because when enough doesn't exist in your mind, you start taking risks you don't need to take. You start pushing limits, making decisions not out of need, but out of greed. Let me give you a powerful idea. Imagine you already have a comfortable life. Your needs are covered. Your family is secure. You have peace, stability. Now ask yourself, why would you risk all of that just to get a little more? But people do it all the time. They gamble, they overinvest, they chase unrealistic returns, not because they need it, but because they can't stop wanting more. And here's the harsh truth. The hardest financial skill is not earning money. It's knowing when to stop, knowing when you have enough. Because if you don't define enough for yourself, the world will define it for you. Through social media, through comparison, through pressure. And trust me, that version of enough will never satisfy you. So what's the solution? Simple, but powerful. Define your own enough. Decide what kind of life makes you happy, not what impresses others, not what looks good online, but what genuinely gives you peace. Because at the end of the day, money is not just about growth. It's about control. Control over your time, your choices, your life. And if chasing more money takes away that control, then what's the point? Remember this. The person who controls their desires is truly rich, not the one who has the most money, but the one who knows this is enough for me. Part 4. Compounding now. Let's talk about something that looks simple, but is actually one of the most powerful forces in the entire world of money. Compounding. At first, it doesn't feel exciting. It feels slow, almost boring, like nothing is really happening. But give it time, and it becomes unstoppable. Let me explain. Compounding is when your money earns returns. And then those returns start earning returns too. So it's not just your money growing. It's your growth. Growing on top of growth. And that's where the magic happens. But here's the catch. Compounding needs time. A lot of time. This is where most people fail. Because we live in a world of instant results. We want quick success, fast money, overnight growth. And when we don't see immediate results, we quit. We change strategies. We jump from one idea to another. And we break the one thing compounding needs the most. Consistency. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you plant a tree today. On day 1, nothing happens. After 1 week, still nothing exciting. Even after a few months, it looks small, weak, unimpressive. Now, most people would say, this isn't working, and they give up. But someone who understands compounding waits. They keep watering the tree. They stay patient. They trust the process. And after years, that small plant becomes a massive tree, strong, stable, and growing on its own. That's exactly how money works. The biggest mistake people make is thinking, it's too late for me. I don't have enough money to start. But the truth is, it's not about how much you start with. It's about how long you stay invested. Even small amounts, if given enough time, can turn into something big. And here's something even more important. Many of the richest people in the world didn't just earn a lot of money. They simply stayed invested for a very long time. They didn't panic. They didn't quit. They didn't chase every new trend. They just stayed. And that's the secret most people ignore. Time matters more than timing. You don't need to perfectly predict the market. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be patient, disciplined, and consistent. Because in the end, compounding doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards behavior. So if there's one thing you take from this, let it be this. Start early, stay consistent, and give it time. Because what feels small today can become life-changing tomorrow. Part 5. Getting rich versus staying rich. Now here's a truth that most people completely misunderstand. Getting rich and staying rich are two totally different games. Yes, two different games with different rules, different mindsets, and different skills. But most people treat them the same. And that's where things go wrong. Let's break this down. Getting rich usually requires bold moves. It requires risk, confidence, taking chances that others are afraid to take. Maybe you start a business. Maybe you invest aggressively. Maybe you go all in on an opportunity. And if things go right, you grow fast. Your income increases. Your wealth rises. And it feels amazing. But here's the problem. The mindset that helps you get rich is often the same mindset that can make you lose everything. Because once you have money, the game changes. Now it's not about proving how smart you are. It's about protecting what you've already built. And this is where staying rich comes in. Staying rich requires a completely different approach. It requires humility, discipline, and most importantly, fear of losing what you have. Not fear in a negative way, but a healthy awareness that everything you've built can disappear if you're careless. And history is full of examples. People who made huge amounts of money, but lost it all. Because they kept taking the same risks again and again and again. They thought, if I made it once, I can do it again. But that confidence turned into overconfidence. And overconfidence is dangerous. Let me say something very important. You only need to get rich once, but you need to stay rich for the rest of your life. Think about that. One big mistake, one bad decision, one moment of ego can wipe out years of hard work. That's why the real goal is not just growth. It's survival. Because if you stay in the game long enough, opportunities will come again. Money will grow again. But if you lose everything, you're forced to start from zero. So what does staying rich actually look like? It means avoiding unnecessary risks. It means not trying to prove something to others. It means being okay with good enough. Instead of always chasing more, it means having a margin of safety. Saving, protecting, thinking long term. Because real wealth is not about showing off. It's about stability. It's about peace of mind. It's about knowing. No matter what happens, I'm secure. And that feeling is worth more than any risky gain. So remember this. Getting rich requires taking risks. But staying rich requires respecting risk. And the people who understand this difference are the ones who build wealth and actually keep it. Part 6. Freedom is the real goal. Now let's talk about something. That completely changes the way you see money. The real goal of money is freedom, not luxury, not status, not showing off, freedom. But most people misunderstand this. We often think, if I have a big house, I'll be happy. If I buy that car, I'll feel successful. If people see my lifestyle, they'll respect me. And for a moment, it might feel good, exciting, impressive, even powerful. But that feeling doesn't last, because deep down, that's not what we truly want. What we actually want is control over our life. Think about it. Imagine waking up in the morning and not being forced to do something you hate. Imagine choosing what you want to do when you want to do it and who you want to do it with. That is real wealth. The ability to control your time. Because time is the most valuable things you have. And once it's gone, you can't get it back. Money can always be earned again. But time? Never. So when money gives you the freedom to spend your time the way you want, that's when it becomes powerful. Let's go a little deeper. A lot of people earn good money, but still feel trapped. Why? Because their lifestyle depends on their income. They have expensive habits, big EMIs, constant pressure to keep earning, so even if they make a lot, they don't feel free. They feel stuck. Now compare that to someone who may not be extremely rich, but has low expenses, strong savings, and control over their choices. That person is actually more free, and that's the difference most people miss. Money doesn't buy happiness directly. It buys independence. Independence from stress, from pressure, from doing things you don't want to do. And here's the most powerful part. You don't need millions to achieve this. You don't need to be the richest person in the room. You just need enough to take control of your time. Because at the end of the day, no car, no house, no luxury item can match the feeling of waking up and saying, I can do what I want today. That feeling is priceless. So if you're chasing money, make sure you're chasing it for the right reason. Not to impress others, not to compete, not to prove anything, but to build a life where you are in control. Because that is the true purpose of money. Part 7, reasonable greater than rational. Now here's a powerful idea. That might completely change the way you make financial decisions. Being reasonable is more important than being rational. Sounds strange, right? Because we've always been told, be logical, be rational, make decisions based on numbers. And yes, that sounds perfect on paper. But real life doesn't work like that. Because money decisions are not made by calculators. They're made by humans. Humans with emotions, fear, stress, doubt, confidence, all mixed together. So even if a decision looks perfectly rational, if it makes you uncomfortable, if it keeps you stressed, if it makes you lose sleep at night, then it's not the right decision for you. Let me explain this simply. Imagine someone tells you, invest all your money in the stock market. It will give you the highest returns. And logically, that might be true. But what if the market suddenly crashes? What if your investments drop by 30%, 40%, or more? Will you stay calm? Or will you panic and sell everything at the worst possible time? This is exactly what happens to many people. They follow a perfect strategy, but emotionally, they're not ready for it. And because of that, they make bad decisions. So instead of trying to be perfectly rational, focus on being reasonable. Choose a strategy that you can stick with, even when things go wrong. Maybe you keep some extra savings, even if investing it could give better returns. Why? Because it gives you peace of mind. Because it helps you feel secure. And that's not a bad decision. That's a smart decision. Because a plan only works if you can actually follow it. And here's the truth. The best financial plan is not the one with the highest returns. It's the one you can stick to consistently over time. Because consistency always beats perfection. So stop trying to be a robot with money. Stop chasing the perfect strategy. Instead, build a system that works for you, your comfort, your mindset, your emotions. Because in the end, money is not just about numbers. It's about behavior. And the more you understand yourself, the better decisions you'll make. Part 8. surprise and uncertainty. Now let's face something that most people try to ignore. The future is unpredictable. No matter how smart you are, no matter how much you plan, you can't control everything. Life doesn't work like that. Markets crash. Unexpectedly. Jobs change. Suddenly. Opportunities appear. Out of nowhere. And sometimes things go wrong. Even when you did everything right. That's the reality. And here's where most people make a mistake. They try to predict everything. They want certainty. They want guarantees. They want a perfect plan. But that doesn't exist. Because the biggest events in life, the ones that change everything, are usually the ones no one saw coming. Think about it. Major financial crises, big market crashes, unexpected success stories. They all have one thing in common. They were surprises. And that's exactly why they matter so much. Because if everyone could predict them, they wouldn't be surprises at all. So instead of trying to predict the future, what should you do? Prepare for uncertainty. That's the real strategy. Always leave room for things to go wrong. Keep some savings aside. Don't invest every single rupee. Avoid putting yourself in a position where one mistake can destroy everything. This is called having a margin of safety. It's like a cushion, a backup, something that protects you when life doesn't go as planned. And trust me, at some point, things won't go as planned. That's not negativity. That's reality. But here's the good news. If you expect uncertainty, if you prepare for it, then when something unexpected happens, you don't panic. You stay calm. You stay in control. And you keep moving forward. Because in the world of money, it's not the smartest person who wins. It's the one who survives. So don't aim for perfection. Don't try to predict every move. Instead, build a system that can handle surprises. Because uncertainty is not your enemy. Ignoring it is. Part 9. You don't need to impress anyone. Now let's talk about a trap that almost everyone falls into. Trying to impress others with money. It sounds harmless, but it's one of the fastest ways to destroy your financial future. Think about it. Why do people buy expensive things? Is it always because they need them? Or is it because they want others to notice? A bigger car, branded clothes, the latest phone. It feels good, right? For a moment, you feel successful, confident, maybe even powerful. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are not thinking about you at all. Yes, they might notice for a few seconds. Nice car, cool phone. And then they go back to thinking about their own life, their own problem, their own goals. Because just like you, they are the center of their own world. So all that money you spent trying to impress others wasn't even that important to them. Let that sink in. Now here's the real danger. When you start spending money to impress, it never ends. Because there will always be someone with a better car, a bigger house, a more luxurious lifestyle. And if your goal is to keep up, you'll always feel behind, always chasing, never satisfied. And slowly, you start sacrificing your real wealth, your savings, your investments, your financial security, just to maintain an image. But real wealth is not what people see. It's what they don't see. It's the money saved. Oh, the investments growing quietly. The freedom you're building behind the scenes. That's real power. Because flashy spending gets attention, but silent wealth gives freedom. So next time you feel the urge to buy something just to impress, pause for a second and ask yourself, Am I doing this for myself or for others? Because if it's for others, it's probably not worth it. Remember this. The goal is not to look rich. The goal is to be rich. And those two things are very different. Part 10, save money. Now here's one of the simplest ideas about money, but also one of the most powerful. It's just saving money. Sounds basic, right? Almost too simple. But don't underestimate it, because this one habit can completely change your financial life. Most people believe, to become rich, I need to earn more. And yes, earning more helps. But here's the truth. You don't need a high income to build wealth. You need the ability to save. Think about it. There are people who earn a lot of money, but still struggle financially. Why? Because their expenses grow. As their income grows, more money comes in, but more money goes out. And at the end, nothing is left. Now compare that to someone who earns a normal income, but saves consistently, controls their spending, avoids unnecessary expenses. That person, slowly, steadily, builds wealth, because saving is not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. And here's something even more important. Saving creates opportunities. When you have savings, you have options. You can take a break if needed. You can handle emergencies. You can invest when opportunities appear. But without savings, even small problems feel like big crises. You feel stuck, dependent, under pressure all the time. And that's not a good place to be. Now let's clear one more myth. Saving money is not about being cheap. It's not about never enjoying life. It's about being intentional, spending on things that truly matter to you, and cutting down on things that don't. Because every rupee you save today is not just money. It's future freedom. It's security. It's peace of mind. And here's the best part. Saving is something you can control. You may not control your salary. You may not control the market. But you can control your spending. You can choose to save a little more, to be a little more disciplined. And those small choices, over time, make a huge difference. So don't wait for the perfect income. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start saving right now, because in the end, wealth is not built by big moments. It's built by small habits. Repeat it again and again and again. Part 11, long-term thinking. Now we come to one of the most important lessons of all. Long-term thinking. This, right here, is what separates people who build real wealth from those who keep starting and stopping again and again. Because let's be honest, we live in a world that is obsessed with the short term. Quick results, instant success, fast money. Everyone wants to win, and they want to win now. But money doesn't work like that. Real wealth takes time, a lot of time. And this is where most people lose. Not because they're not smart, but because they're not patient. Let me explain. Imagine you start investing. At first, the growth looks slow, almost invisible. Some days the market goes up, some days it goes down, and it feels like nothing's happening. This is the point where most people quit. They get frustrated. They lose confidence. They start chasing something new. And in doing that, they break the entire process. But someone who understands long-term thinking does something different. They ignore the noise. They don't panic when the market drops. They don't get overexcited when it rises. They stay calm. They stay consistent. And most importantly, they stay invested. Because they understand one simple truth. Short-term movements are unpredictable, but long-term growth is powerful. And here's something you need to remember. Every big success story you see, whether it's in business, investing, or life, is the result of years, sometimes decades, of consistency. Not one lucky moment, but many small efforts repeated over time. That's how real growth happens. And here's the mindset shift you need. Stop asking, how can I get rich quickly? Start asking, how can I stay consistent for the next 10, 20, even 30 years? Because that's the real game. It's not about speed. It's about staying in the game through ups and downs, through uncertainty, through slow progress. Because if you don't quit, if you stay patient, if you keep going, then over time, the results will come. And when they do, they won't just be temporary. They'll be lasting. So remember this: wealth is built slowly, but surely. And the longer your time horizon, the stronger your results will be. Conclusion. So, after everything we've discussed, all these ideas, all these lessons, what's the final takeaway? What is the psychology of money really trying to teach us? Here it is. Money is not about intelligence. It's about behavior. Let that sink in. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to predict the market. You don't need perfect timing. What you really need is control over your emotions. Because at the end of the day, it's not your knowledge, but your habits, your patience, your discipline. That decides your financial future. Think about everything we covered. People aren't crazy with money. They're shaped by their experiences. Luck and risk play a bigger role than we think. Chasing more and more can destroy everything. Small, consistent efforts grow through compounding. Getting rich is one thing, but staying rich is a completely different game. Money is not about luxury. It's about freedom. Being reasonable matters more than being perfectly rational. The future is uncertain, so always be prepared. You don't need to impress anyone. Saving money gives you power. And long-term thinking is the real key to building wealth. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, which of these lessons are you already following? And which ones do you need to start working on? Because knowledge alone doesn't change anything. Action does. Small actions. Repeated every day. That's what creates real results. So don't try to change everything overnight. Start small. Maybe you save a little more. Maybe you become more patient. Maybe you stop comparing yourself to others. Just one step at a time. Because remember, this is not a sprint. It's a lifetime journey. And the earlier you understand this, the stronger your future will be. Now before you leave, if this video helped you, if it changed the way you think about money even a little, I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, press the bell icon so you never miss any new videos and get all the latest informative content as soon as it's released.